Oh, we are back.
We are back.
With a vengeance.
At the time of recording, the Oscars are in like 3 days.
I feel like I have not slept in 3 days with the movies we've been watching. In a good way, though.
By the time we put this episode out, the Oscars will have happened.
I don't even know what to say. I'm ready.
I'm really upset that we have to work the day after the Oscars.
Me too. I'm ready to snack and eat and drink and enjoy the red carpet all day because it's fun to point at the silly rich people doing their things. They take themselves so seriously. I love it.
They really do. And man, I would totally just take that Monday off if I didn't just start a new job.
Now, I am most excited this Oscar season with our most recent Oscar drama revolving around Mr. Supreme himself.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone's heard Timothée Chalamet made some ignorant comments about opera and ballet, and now he's getting roasted for it. And honestly, I don't know if this dropped in enough time that it would really take away a lot of his votes, but I mean, there were still a few days left of Oscar voting. I'm sure it didn't help. I think what most of all didn't help was the SAG loss.
That is true. I've seen a few different interviews from over the last few years, upwards of a decade of him having this viewpoint on ballet and dancing and everything.
Yeah, and opera.
I am hoping my sweet spot for these Oscars is that's what costs him that Best Actor award, just by a narrow margin. I will do a front flip just as long as you call an ambulance first.
I've been in ballet productions, so I was personally offended.
Ballet, dancing, operas, nothing to do with movies at all, right?
I worked an opera one time. Man, they work so hard.
No doubt. Nuts. It's a dying art. Trust
dare
the
you.
man who's dating a Kardashian.
A few weeks ago, I was so certain you have me on recording. I was like, Timothée Chalamet is going to win that Oscar.
I was so disappointed in you.
Well, now I'm going to predict Michael B. Jordan.
Yes!
And I do think the SAG win helped.
Definitely.
Chalamet also lost at BAFTA, so that's big. And, you know, my final predictions always have a little edge of spite tinged in them.
Oh, okay.
Like, I'm not about to predict Sean Penn, even though everything logically says Sean Penn is going to win, and it's because I hate Sean Penn.
It's like it makes sense if he does win. It won't come as a surprise, just a disappointment.
It's the Casey Affleck year all over again.
It really is.
I couldn't predict that man, and I can't predict Sean Penn. Now, Timothée Chalamet is no Sean Penn or Casey Affleck, but I just think too many things have happened. And you know what? If he were like a 50-year-old man, I would probably still predict him.
Mm-hmm. He hasn't earned it. He's taken his lumps now.
Yeah, I think the Oscars do sometimes want a younger man to, you know, put in his time. They did the same thing with Leo.
It is the exact same thing because the Oscars were like, well, Leo's past 50 now, so I think we can look past his creepy dating patterns. He deserves that Oscar.
Yeah.
Come back in 25 years, Timothy, and we'll talk.
Exactly. Like, I'll be surprised if once he's in his 50s, if he doesn't have an Oscar. Like, he'll probably get an Oscar in his 40s if he doesn't get this one. Unless this whole thing makes him fall off the map. I don't know.
I kind of doubt it.
I don't think it will.
In all likelihood, he probably will continue to get nominated and probably win within the next few years or so if he keeps cranking out movies on a big scale like this, or big budget movies.
Yeah, it might be a good idea for him to take like a year or two. Not necessarily he has to take a break from acting, but like maybe go do a play. Do some live theater.
Yeah.
Reground yourself, Timothée Chalamet.
I guess it wouldn't hurt to garnish some goodwill.
Yeah, especially from live performers who you kind of pissed off.
I've kind of figured, just kind of seeing him and his style, he would have already been a big theater figure. Seems like, especially in college, he would have thrived in an environment like that.
I think he's done a theater production before on Broadway or off Broadway. I think he was pretty young though.
Okay.
I might be wrong on that,
now.
but I'm pretty sure that happened maybe when he was in high school or college.
But I digress.
So anyway,
We are here for the movies.
our first movie that we watched on our lovely Rotten Tomatoes list, because I guess that is the point here.
And we have a combination of Oscar Oscar-nominated movies and Rotten Tomato movies as well. Is
Yeah,
that right?
because some of the Oscar movies are also on that Rotten Tomato list. As a refresher, I'm just using the Wikipedia list that's like 2025 in film, 2026 in film, and I'm seeing which ones are certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes because I'm crazy and I want to see if those movies actually deserve to be certified fresh.
No, it's the whole soul of the show. No, I like that. It's just Oscar season right now.
Yeah, so there's a lot of Oscar nominees baked into that. And then I'm also watching the ones that aren't.
The
because
overlap is
have
definitely
to.
fun. But yeah, we watched some unique movies this week. We stuck with our normal 5, if I recall. All right, start us
Yes.
out.
We have 5. The first one absolutely was not nominated for an Oscar. It
really?
was Fackham Hall.
Damian Lewis starring in Fackham Hall.
I remember watching the trailer
I
and
liked the trailer.
you were really excited. So did it live up to the hype? How did you feel about it?
Oh, I wanted it to, but unfortunately, I think this one did fall a little flat. I was getting, like, from the trailer, maybe like Naked Gun or Airplane style kind of drier humor, but it's witty and kind of slapsticky. This movie did have a lot of that. Really good actors and performances. I didn't think that the story was really there, or really that it had enough comedy baked into it.
Yeah, I didn't care about the story at all. I honestly don't even think it needed much of a story because I don't think that was the point. I feel like the point was the satire and the jokes, but this really isn't my kind of humor.
The humor was there. I think if they had turned it up a little bit, I would have enjoyed it more. Like I said, I kind of think the weird love story, it was making fun of your Downton Abbeys of the world. And I get that. I wanted more of the characters, especially Damian Lewis's character, to be fleshed out more because they were all really funny.
I just think this particular parody, it's a little too late, you know? This probably would have been really funny and would have done really well 10 years ago.
I could
at
see
the
that.
Downton Abbey prime.
I could see that for sure. This was a strange time to release this movie. Do you think, they did the Naked Gun remake not too long ago. Maybe they're trying to do a sort of revival of some comedy classics or that kind of style, perhaps?
This had kind of the same humor as that movie, and honestly, it's just not my thing. But I do think one thing I hear from movie lovers all the time is there's not enough straight up comedies
There's not.
that you see in the movie theater.
You're
so
right.
I do think that's a smart thing to jump on, but this kind of humor just doesn't appeal to me. I feel like it appeals to a lot of people, though. I don't want to say the parody was bad because I think it was parodying, the Downton Abbey type stuff.
That
pretty
kind of drama.
well.
Yeah.
But it just wasn't very engaging.
It wasn't very engaging. It wasn't very interesting overall. I wanted the setting fleshed out more, get us more involved,
A lot of the humor felt very surface level. I
did.
didn't think they dug deep enough into it because I do think there's a lot of humor you can find from that era and from that type of content, I suppose.
I think when you have this combination of a kind of slapsticky, dry comedy, having that physicality feature in a movie like that, like lots of stunts and body work. My favorite part in this movie is when Damian Lewis kept getting shot, but he had different like liquor bottles in his jacket, deflecting each bullet. That was really funny. Not enough of that in my opinion. This was a pretty funny movie. Like I said, I have liked Damian Lewis since Band of Brothers, and ever since. I think he was probably the funniest character in this film. He was just so ridiculous. It worked really well with this, but they killed him off so early.
Yeah, I thought that was a real shame. He was the funniest character for me. They didn't really give the mom-wife character much to do at all.
Not at all, no. That's a good point. point, now that I think back on it.
And then I didn't care about the love story. It felt like it was just there as a vehicle for incest jokes, which, I mean, yeah, there is incest in Downton Abbey, so that is something to poke fun at.
These
but
aristocrats just marrying like cousins, even first cousins, where it's like, well, this will help keep the
money in the
building.
family.
Yeah, the money in the family.
Yeah, but I don't know. I felt like a lot of the jokes were a little tired. They didn't feel very new or interesting. It didn't make me think about what it's parodying in any different way, you know? And I feel like a good parody maybe points out things about something that you didn't recognize before, or you didn't see how ridiculous it was before, you know? And
Absolutely.
I don't think this did that.
Like I said, I wanted to like this more. I would not be able to quite recommend this as a comedy. I think there's just a lot of other stuff out there, but I'll try to think of what has been my favorite comedy over the last few years. There's not too much. Friendship probably tops it right now. That's true. I want to rewatch Friendship, actually.
Yeah, Friendship had me like doubled over, grabbing my ribs. I feel like with Tim Robinson's humor, either you really vibe with it or you really don't. And Friendship, that was a movie that I really vibed with. So.
I think we've mentioned it before, but if you're ever interested in watching anything Tim Robinson related, watch maybe 4 episodes of I Think You Should Leave, which is very easy. They're like 20 minutes a piece.
Yeah.
If you don't like that kind of comedy, walk away.
Yeah, I remember when we watched Friendship, I had you watch a little I Think You Should Leave first.
And that worked perfectly. I knew what to expect and found it that much funnier as a whole.
But yeah, I don't have a ton more to say about Fackham Hall. It was mildly funny. I think if you really like this kind of humor, maybe you'll enjoy it. But even then, I feel like there weren't enough jokes. They spent too much time on this romance plot that I didn't really care for.
You're right. A lot of the family members who were funny on introduction, we didn't really see much more from them. Here's how I would have handled it. Start out this first movie as the introduction of maybe this is a lost cousin or something as our entry point for the audience. And you get to meet all these ridiculous characters and this fantastical setting. Make the sequel the bad romance storyline with an already established cast and setting. That would have worked much better, I think.
So what you're saying is this should have been a TV show like Downton Abbey?
I don't quite know if it would have worked as a show, honestly. I think comedies like this, when they really hit it home, it's almost one thing after another, one joke after another, which happens a lot in these movies, but it just works. I don't know. I don't think this one was quite for me, at least.
No, me neither.
I would give this like a 60. Good job trying, but try again.
This like a 40.
Maybe the sequel will be funnier.
I don't think this is getting a sequel.
I am probably in a minority here, but one of my favorite comedies is, what's that Jim Carrey?
Liar, Liar?
Not Liar. Liar, Liar probably is my favorite comedy, just overall. Ace Ventura, Pet Detective 2. I like that one more than the first one. I might be wrong there, according to a lot of folks.
I've never seen either one.
You would hate them.
Jim Carrey scares me. But Fackham Hall on Rotten Tomatoes has a 75%.
That's fair, I guess.
No, that's too high. That's not worth the hype.
Is this movie worth the hype to me?
No,
there are better comedies out there. People probably overall might even enjoy the new Naked Gun a little bit more than this, and I didn't even like that either.
I didn't care for the new Naked Gun, but if I had to choose, I liked the new Naked Gun more than this.
I think the Naked Gun trailer showed you some of the funniest parts to kind of draw you in, and the rest of the movie didn't really live up. Whereas you saw some funny parts in the trailer for Fuck 'Em All, but the rest of it was kind of crap too.
In the trailer, didn't they show that Damian Lewis died?
I think they did.
That was wild. They tried to set it up like this murder mystery, and he didn't die until like 3/4 into the movie.
Hey, oh, was it a little bit later? I thought it was, I'm like, man, he's already gone. That sucks. I thought he had either faked his death or actually wasn't dead for that scene or something like that.
I just felt like he was alive a lot longer than I was expecting based on the trailer.
That's right. But yeah, so you could skip that one. Or if you're just bored and want to watch something that might make you smile.
Watch Friendship instead.
Friendship is an experience.
All right, you ready for the next one?
Number 2, let's go.
Song Sung Blue.
Oh boy.
Another one that's also an Oscar nominee for
Hugh
Kate
Jackman.
Hudson. No, not Hugh.
Does Hugh Jackman have any Oscar nominations?
He was nominated for Les Mis.
That makes sense. I was not too excited going into this movie. It didn't quite, seem to be a genre or style that I might enjoy. I like the music though.
I wasn't excited. I knew I wouldn't like the music. I knew this wasn't my thing. It's a biopic about musicians.
A lot of things Hugh Jackman that are not Wolverine kind of freak me out a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest Hugh Jackman fan. I love Kate Hudson though, but I mean, I thought she was great in this. She did her job, but I don't think
I understand
Kate
the nomination
Hudson was enough to make me like this movie, you know?
Now, there were a few spots in this movie that threw me for a loop, and we'll get to that. Definitely my favorite part. I did not dislike this movie as much as I thought I would. I liked the music. I'm not particularly interested in this cover band and their history and everything that they were portraying. Was this based on a book or something like that?
I think there was a documentary.
That's right. Documentary on this couple who were musicians and had their little band. Good for them, I guess.
See, I didn't even think this movie was bad as much as I was just pretty bored. I didn't really care.
That is true. I checked out a few times. Mm-hmm. I liked the singing and the music and all that. That was all really well done. But it's true. After you're in, a half dozen songs in, you just kind of start feeling they all blend together after a while.
Absolutely. This is not my kind of music at all. We have very differing music tastes.
This was sort of my music, actually.
Yeah,
I
it was.
the music.
But it's about, this Neil Diamond cover band called Thunder and Lightning. Right off the bat,
Lightning sucks.
Hugh Jackman, he's in AA and he starts singing in this AA meeting, and all I could think was that would definitely drive me to a bar after this.
Oh, I was definitely thinking in that scene, everyone's like, we didn't ask you to sing, please don't.
Yeah.
Every time he starts singing.
I guess he establishes it was his sober birthday, so I guess they threw him a bone for that one, but then he immediately starts creeping on Kate Hudson after he decides he doesn't want to do his job, which his job is performing music at a theme park or something.
Yeah, he has this little persona of lightning, and they don't really go into it more than that, other than he likes lightning bolts and likes being called lightning. Mm-hmm. But he's going to be playing Elvis or something at this show, and it's you're a working musician, take the job.
Yeah, he's this is against my artistic integrity. But then it's well, later you're in a cover band, so...
Exactly, that doesn't make sense.
I guess he establishes that he's not a Neil Diamond impersonator. He's a Neil Diamond interpreter. But in my opinion, what's the difference? It just sounded pretentious. It's not like you're someone who's writing original songs. I don't know what this man was like in real life, but I thought this movie portrayed him as not the greatest, honestly.
No, this dude had some issues. He liked the attention.
Yeah.
Now, can I get to my favorite part of this movie?
Go for it.
I was half checked out through this movie, but we're at a scene where Kate Hudson's standing in her front yard, facing her house,
She's gardening,
something like that. Great pastime. And you're not really seeing much in the scene or much is going on. And then you see a car going around the bend of their house. It's going straight towards her. Bam. I thought we were in a dream sequence. I was so surprised on what was happening.
You thought we were in a dream sequence for a while.
I did. I was not convinced that she randomly got hit by a car, skipping ahead a little bit, but another car almost takes her out again and tries to get her on a second time.
We had to look up if that actually happened because that sounded so wild, and it literally did actually happen twice.
She randomly gets hit by a car halfway through the movie and loses her leg. Hot damn, I was not expecting that.
I don't think this movie delved enough into her experience with that.
Kate Hudson kind of became the main character, your main focus towards the end of the movie. Would you agree?
No, actually. I think the
Dang.
whole time they were keeping the main focus on Hugh Jackman, because even when she was on screen and it was like, well, obviously she's depressed because she just lost her leg, it felt more about, well, here's how this is affecting Hugh Jackman. And I don't know if that's because like that man in real life is actually dead and she's not, so maybe they're trying to memorialize him a little bit more.
Yeah, maybe.
I also thought one of the most interesting things about this movie was it seemed like Kate Hudson, after she lost her leg, she was, of course, given pain pills, and they take her to rehab at one point, but I don't really think we see enough of how addiction is affecting her.
Not at all, yeah.
And I don't know if that is because that woman is still alive and maybe she wasn't down with the portrayal like that.
Didn't you say one of their kids had a problem with the portrayal of what Hugh Jackman's character?
So in the movie, Kate Hudson has a son and a daughter, and Hugh Jackman just has a daughter. But I guess in real life, that guy had a son as well.
Who they just cut for some reason.
He's not in the movie at all. They just act like he doesn't exist. And yeah, he was mad about his father's portrayal in this movie and said that everyone who worked on this movie was evil and tarnishing his name, which I think that's maybe a little extreme. I actually think this movie did its best to try to portray that man as really good. It reminded me of The Smashing Machine in that way, where here's this flawed man, and we're gonna touch on his flaws a little bit, but mostly we're going to treat him like he's this just beacon of society, amazing person, and we're not gonna delve too far into anything unsavory, even though that doesn't make a full person.
Right. We keep seeing all the mistakes that he's making along the way, but the movie and he treats it like it's normal or good things.
Exactly.
Sends the wrong messages, man.
Well, because even in the end, it's portrayed he dies because he
Oh, yeah.
hits his head, and then instead of getting medical attention, goes and does that performance, and then he dies right after. And I was thinking that feels dramatized for the movie. No way was that the timeline. It seems like it was.
That
it seems
did
like that
actually
is what
happen.
happened.
This guy was in the bathroom, was he dancing or something like that? I don't even remember what he was doing, but he slips and falls.
I think he was just getting ready for his performance.
Bashes his head on the bathroom sink, super glues it back together, and is like, no, the show must go on. The Neil Diamond interpretations show must go on. Has a brain bleed the whole time.
Every time, because we established the character has a heart condition, every time he starts having a heart issue, or there was one time at the beginning of the movie where he hurt his leg, Hugh Jackman would just very suddenly just grab at his heart and just, oh! And I thought it was funny every time. I did not think that was very realistic.
Because he does that like 10 times throughout the movie, and each time like, okay, is this finally going to be the big one?
Also, I have to point out my favorite scene in the movie, the scene where he's at the hospital because Kate Hudson just got hit by a car.
See, this is why I thought it was a dream sequence. I'm like, there's no fucking way this happened.
He starts having a heart attack, and he pulls Kate Hudson's daughter to the side and says, I'm having a heart attack. You've seen ER. You see that defibrillator over there? I need you to shock me.
Yeah, they're alone in an unoccupied room, but they're in a hospital.
Yeah, it's like you are in a hospital. This is the place to get medical attention from a professional, not a teenage girl.
There is a doctor 6.5 feet from you, and you're having your teenage daughter going, okay, put it on my chest.
Why was that medical equipment left unattended?
That is a good question.
I should look up if that actually happened, because what a bizarre thing to just put in the movie if that didn't actually happen.
I wouldn't think so at first, but the whole car thing happened, and that's why I thought, oh, she got hit. Oh, he's randomly, like, he's almost dying and getting shocked. None of this makes sense. This is a dream, because the next scene is her waking up and falling out of bed. And I was like, okay, she's freaking out, like, mentally. But no, we have a little bit of a time skip because she gets up from falling out of bed.
The editing wasn't always stellar here.
True. True, true, true.
But yeah, his reasoning was, no, they need to be focused on her. It's about her. It's not about me. There are other doctors in the hospital. Like, I'm pretty sure comparatively, they probably see a lot of heart attacks. They can probably, I mean, you seem to have been fine after a teenager zapped you. So I'm pretty sure the doctors could have handled it in a couple minutes.
I have to imagine doctors and nurses deal with family members, like just with a patient at a hospital, like getting so stressed out they just like have a heart attack or pass out. Like, especially like, you ever see like new dads passing out all the time?
Oh, yeah.
That's got to be real annoying. Just like Hugh Jackman's character was in this movie. He was very selfish.
Yeah. I didn't like this movie. I didn't really think it was an incompetent movie. I was just bored. I didn't care.
I guess just be aware if you do decide to watch this movie, take it from the viewpoint of this is the world's biggest Neil Diamond fan. That's who it was, Neil Diamond?
Neil Diamond, yeah.
And he wants to meet him. He literally dies trying to go meet Neil Diamond at a ice cream shop, something like that.
But no, frozen custard.
Frozen custard. He has his brain bleed after their final concert and like dies in the car in the parking lot of the frozen custard place to meet Neil Diamond in person. It's stranger than fiction. Maybe this is all true.
There were a lot of really long musical sequences, which
it gets boring after a while.
I guess
I'm sorry.
That's the point of the movie. I felt the same way with A Complete Unknown last year. This isn't my kind of music. I don't really care about the big long musical sequences, but there are a lot of people who probably do. Speaking of Neil Diamond, there was also the scene where it was like one of their first concerts as a band, and they were booked to play a bar with some like biker gang there.
Like by accident, I think.
Yeah.
Or they didn't realize it was going to be like biker night at the bar.
I also thought the pacing was bad there, because here's this new band and they have this one bad show, but then there was like one montage and now they're famous and successful.
I agree.
One guy just yells, "Neil Diamond sucks," or something like that, and Hugh Jackman is about to throw punches.
Oh, he runs off the stage to confront the guy. If you know he's the world's biggest Neil Diamond fan going into this movie, and that kind of explains some of his actions and motivations, things make much more sense. He is obsessed, but they don't actually touch on that in the movie. It makes more sense in hindsight.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, this wasn't for me. You know what? I'm going to give it a 30.
A 30. See, I'm of the mindset, like, if you like Neil Diamond music and that kind of style, I could see people thinking this is perfectly
My mom
serviceable.
would love this movie.
Exactly. So I'll give it like a 75.
Oh, see, I
hated
choose
it.
Based on my opinion.
See, when you hate something, you hate something.
I don't even know if I hated this. I just thought it was boring.
And that's the worst thing a movie can be.
It really is. And the Rotten Tomatoes score is a 77%. I obviously don't think that's worth the hype. I think you're a little more in line with that 77.
Hey, the people have spoken.
It's the critics, not the people.
Dang.
The people said 97%.
The people have spoken.
The people who are going to go review this movie really love some Neil Diamond. And you know what? If you love Neil Diamond, go watch the movie. If you don't, skip it.
Now, Jessie Buckley's up for Best Supporting Actress, right?
No, Best Lead Actress.
Best Lead. So who is Kate Hudson's competition?
Well, Jessie Buckley's gonna win.
She's up against Jessie Buckley.
Jessie Buckley, Rose Byrne. If anyone else wins but Jessie Buckley, it'll be Rose Byrne. That's not gonna happen. Jessie Buckley's swept everything. But
you don't think Kate has a shot?
No, I think Kate is probably like 5th place, honestly. Not to say that she's bad. I just think if you lined up the vote tallies, she would probably be 5th.
All right. We'll see what happens. I would say, is this worth the hype? Sure. Give it a shot. You might have fun with it.
Disagree.
It's all right.
All right. Next movie. Not an Oscar movie, but I thought it was pretty cool. Man Finds Tate.
Yes. This was a surprise hit with me. I liked this movie.
Yeah, me too.
It's a very interesting concept.
Rented it from the library. We love the library.
Support your local library always.
And this is like an independent found footage movie.
Yeah, it's not a big budget budget, big effects sort of thing. But that's what I liked about it. It was grounded.
Yeah. It had a really cool concept. It felt, I think his sister even says it in the movie at one point. She calls it a creepypasta.
It kind of is, yes.
And it felt like that. I loved a creepypasta when I was in high school. So I love a little urban legend internet mystery.
We see a lot of the characters and they're filming things with cameras all the time. And then we see them watching tapes and stuff. I did get a little lost sometimes depending on, is this from the sister's viewpoint or when she's shooting her podcast show, or the brother when he's actually going about doing things, or his prior videos. It went kind of back and forth, and that's fine. It's all kind of building up to that conclusion.
Yeah, and I think what the framing device was we have two siblings. The sister is Lynn, and Lynn seems to be in film school, and she's making a documentary about all of this. So that's why we see a lot of interviews of people and stuff. And then her brother Lucas is the man who finds tape, and he found this creepy tape of him when he was a little kid, this like shadowy figure waking him up from bed and like putting something in his mouth. And so he ends up putting that on the internet, on like Reddit at first, and then he kind of becomes a YouTube, Twitch guy off of that, and he calls it Man Finds Tape.
He starts posting updates into his like investigation into, suspicious people and things.
I liked the, I guess, character motivation or plot device that their parents were like video people. They recorded.
They set up all the security cameras in their little town.
Yeah, they were camera operators. And so it makes sense that then both of these kids are really interested in that stuff. And
I like that.
know how to use it. And I think that's a cool concept to throw onto a found footage movie.
I agree. It worked very well.
It did. And I thought that the story was really inventive and interesting. And, it comes out that this reverend is part of the whole mystery.
The like popular reverend in their local town. It's like a very small, secluded town kind of situation, and we start seeing that like weird stuff is happening.
I thought there were a lot of really poignant themes and ideas too of how people, even a whole, especially small town, can kind of become sheep to a religion or a reverend or something like that. It's very easy to get that hive mind, especially in a smaller town.
You have a person of authority has this like secluded group who's able to them use their position to prey on them. It was a interesting telling.
And it's not even like anyone has given him authority. He's just speaking about it in the most confident manner, so everyone flocks to him.
But we start out the mystery with Lucas eventually discovering that from like security camera footage of his hometown in like Texas, I think it is.
Yeah.
At certain points, groups of like people who are out and about, they'll see on like public footage, they'll stop and just kind of like pass out for a while. Like people even get run over when that was happening.
And he was even in a car that crashed.
Yes, I liked that. They mentioned a car crash, and at first they're portraying it as, oh, he may have substance abuse issues, things like that, causing a car crash. No, he was in the car with, I think, his girlfriend, and they both passed out like everyone has been doing in Crash. I thought that had good payoff in the movie.
Yeah, and then his sister, who left town to go to school because their parents died, mysteriously, of course. But yeah, the sister leaves town to go to school, and she comes back, and he's on this Man Finds Tape stuff. He's had the crash. He's trying to tell her, no, I wasn't on anything during that. And she doesn't believe him because she's being very logical, honestly.
Oh yeah, it comes out he's made up a lot of the factors in his like YouTube series now to keep his audience kind of engaged. Some of the elements are true, but like I think what started it all, I think he made up a lot of, but he thinks he's like found something now.
Well, the thing that he kind of falls on his sword over making up was the thing about the Reverend, but that's because the Reverend threatened legal action, and that actually ended up being true. So
True, yeah.
but I guess maybe making that public declaration and him saying it wasn't true at the time, yeah, the sister and everyone would have been like, what's wrong with this guy?
Right.
The whole mystery resolved in a way that I completely wasn't expecting either. I was like, this has something to do with like religious horror or a cult. Maybe there's demon possession or something going on here. No, way wilder than that. When it was revealed, I was just sitting there like floored.
Straight out of Tremors, people have these little wormy parasite things like in their backs and in their bodies. And if I'm understanding it correctly, the Reverend is like the big bug host.
Yeah.
And all the little baby parasites are in the whole town, and they, whenever he like decides like, okay, everyone start feeding to like off people's blood, which somehow then gets from town's person's body to him, unclear on how that happens.
He had little holes too, so it was maybe something like that.
And everyone passes out and like freezes whenever these worm things are kind of like activated to start feeding. I don't know if we ever established, was it like a certain trigger word? Because it showed like Lucas would watch a certain video of the Reverend speaking and pass out at a certain point. So something must have been triggered.
I think that would make sense. And they even bring up at one point, it's like a straw, and they say, but a straw can go both ways.
Interesting. Okay. It was cool and gross and weird and raised a lot of questions, but also they start to explore this mystery. We also have this mysterious guy who's there. At first we think I thought he was maybe like a serial killer or something like that, like a person behind the weird things happening in town. But no, he is aware of the parasite stuff, but he's not like a good guy yet trying to fight it.
No, he wants to harness the parasite powers for himself. And he even says, the Reverend, he's thinking too small with this. But yeah, that was all really cool. I thought the effects were great. This
I agree.
Didn't seem like it had a really high budget, but
they did
everything
very
looked
well.
Really good. I thought the acting was good.
Yeah. I want to talk about the one scene where they are at the church towards the end of the movie. We're at the point, do you remember, where they show her, Lynn places the 911 call and saying, hey, someone just stabbed the Reverend, and then he walked into the wall and disappeared.
Yeah, the call we opened the movie with.
Do you remember the scene where that's all happening and it jumps to a viewpoint of someone on that like spiral staircase thing?
I think that was Lynn.
Was that Lynn's? Like we see the camera goes to almost like a weird, I don't want to say like fantasy setting, but something looks off. You're on the spiral staircase going down, and at the bottom of the staircase is like a flame, it looks like. So our viewpoint starts moving down, and it turns out the light source is coming up towards us, it's like some sort of creature, maybe the origin of this parasite thing. I'm not quite sure. Is it supposed to be like a demon, and that's represented here?
I thought it was moving a lot as if it were a bunch of those worms.
That's what I thought. And so our viewpoint, it turns back around, runs back up to the stairs to the entrance, and the entrance is like the side of the door of the church.
Yeah.
Whose viewpoint was that? Was it the guy in the wall? Was that his viewpoint? He's like somehow jumping between places. His powers are not explained.
Well, because he didn't have a camera. I assumed it was
Lynn that was from a camera.
The person was holding a camera.
I got
they
just
were
lost. I'm
the
like,
stairs.
This action's happening in the church, and then it cuts to this. That part did take me out a little bit. I wasn't quite sure.
I don't think it was fully explained, or like the ending or anything was fully explained.
This movie leaves a lot of mystery, and that's good.
I do also think it was probably Lynn, because at the end, we do also end with a little more of a mystery where she's like, well, why didn't this work on me? Because she never had the parasite. She was never randomly like fainting or losing consciousness. And they reveal that there is a tape of her and the Reverend when she's a kid, and he's putting the thing in her mouth, which we learn is the parasite.
Yeah, I guess how the Reverend, he just walks into people's houses in the middle of the night. He's beguiling them somehow, because they just kind of sit up, even the adults and everyone just kind of sit up, look at him. He films it for some reason. person or someone films it and puts like the egg in their mouth and they just go right back to sleep.
Yeah. So I'm like, maybe
That's pretty easy.
that has something to do with why she could see it. Like there's something special about her, but we don't know what it is. There were some loose ends here,
Yeah,
but ultimately,
and that's okay.
I thought the movie was strong enough that I didn't really care that everything wasn't perfectly explained.
I liked the like mysterious man who wanted to take the parasite power. He like almost bites a chunk out of the reverend host guy and is like, I've got it now. And you can see the little parasite like mouths over his body. I thought that was all cool and well done. Especially when they try to start taking parasites out of people's like backs.
Oh yeah.
No one notices they've got giant holes in their backs.
Something about found footage, I think, can make something feel a lot scarier. I also really liked, we talked about it earlier, Strange Harvest. That was found footage. So yeah, I think found footage can be really creepy because it feels a little more rooted in realism.
What was Strange Harvest about again?
It was about that serial killer, and it was the found footage.
Oh, with like
documentary style.
with like astrological stuff going on
Yeah.
at the end. Okay. Yeah, I liked this movie a lot. It went in a very interesting direction, and it was weird and had cool effects. There's a lot of practical effects here, I think. Found footage, when done like this, I think is always a fun experience. Story was mostly there, and I think we still have a lot of questions from everything that makes it almost worth a rewatch. I want to kind of go through this again at some point and see if I pick up anything else. Who knows? Maybe we'll even see a sequel at some point, but maybe not. I would give this movie an 89%, almost there.
Yeah, I'm going to give it an 85%. I thought it was really good. The only negative I have to say is just there were some of those loose story ends, but like I said, everything else was so strong, I don't even really care about that very much. I would say definitely support your local library and check it out.
Oh, absolutely.
If you can.
Canopy.
And on Rotten Tomatoes, this has an 82%.
All right. Actually,
so yeah, I
lower
would say
than I thought.
definitely worth the hype.
2 thumbs up for me. Yeah, give this a shot.
All right, so our next movie was Fairyland, and in no surprise to us at all, Scoot McNairy plays a terrible father.
He's back. He knows his role. He's terrible. He's not going to be there for his very young daughter this whole movie. He's going to leave her alone always.
I think every movie I've seen this man in for the past 3 years, which has been a lot, good for him. He's out and working.
Get that back, Scoot.
He's played a terrible father in all of them.
And you know what? That I think just proves he's a very good actor because I'm yelling at him for being a terrible dad in every one of these movies.
Yeah, he
really sells it.
Being a terrible dad. And you know what? He sells being a terrible dad in different ways in each movie.
He does. Now, I thought this was a interesting and good story to tell, an interesting viewpoint from a very important time in history.
I agree, but you know, I feel like I don't want to say I feel like this topic is a little overdone because this was based on a memoir. This did actually happen to someone, and I mean, this kind of stuff happened to a lot of people, but it just gets a little exhausting turning on a movie with queer themes and then you see, oh wait, it's set in the 70s and the 80s, and I turned to you and I said,
we know exactly what's going to happen.
And yeah, before I could even finish my sentence, you were like, yes, absolutely. And you know, I would love to watch just a nice movie with queer themes about queer people and community that isn't a super sad everyone's dying of AIDS fest.
It was kind of depressing in a few scenes, yeah.
Even though like this is realistic and this did actually happen, but it gets a little exhausting after a while, you know.
I'll just say our main viewpoint and character is Scoot's daughter. Girl, you should have just stayed with your grandparents.
Yeah. Like, he just leaves her alone and he has all these boyfriends, which it's fine that he has boyfriends, but it seems like he is neglecting his daughter in favor of his boyfriends.
It seemed like this guy was not really suited to be a dad, and he didn't know how to without his wife who had died.
Yeah, and then he's like doing drugs and partying, which I don't have a problem with, but I'm also like, you probably shouldn't be doing that with a child in the room, like a 5-year-old child.
Oh yeah, she was
present.
basically a baby, and he's saying, "Okay, go get on the city bus from school, and I'll meet you at home."
She almost got abducted.
Really? Yeah.
Because he didn't even give her the stranger danger talk. Some creep pulls up and he's like, "Hey, little girl, I can drive you where you want to go." And she's just like, "Okay." And then a random woman on the street, she knows that game. She's like, I've got it. So props to that random woman.
100%. I liked at the end of the film how we get a little bit more of his background, saying, I know I wasn't a perfect father, but growing up, I didn't want your childhood to be like mine, where everything was like disciplined and like it was, I think he said it was either discipline or punishment, and you were really locked in. And he's like, I didn't want you to have to experience that. So he went to the far other extreme and did not parent her at all.
Yeah, it made sense when he said that. Like, I understood, but I also think what she said was kind of right too.
Oh, she was in the right, absolutely. He is very flawed.
Yeah, which was, you essentially just neglected me my whole childhood, and now you're saying these things and trying to convince yourself that you did it to be a good father.
I get that, yep.
And I think that was pretty spot on, honestly.
I think also I was yelling at the TV what was her name again? Like Emily something? Alicia. She was studying abroad in Paris, has like her boyfriend in the Parisian countryside or outside the city, really enjoying life and having a time, and her sick dad is calling her, begging to come back and take care of him. And immediately I was thinking, girl, don't go. He was never there for you.
Well, and then he guilt trips her. He's like, I wasn't ready to take care of you, but I did.
Yeah.
And
congratulations on doing your role as a parent.
Yeah, it's a tough one because I personally don't think a kid should ever feel obligated to do something for their parent just because they're your parent. I feel like you should have a good enough relationship that they want to do those things for you, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't like the whole, a parent can be as shitty to you as they want, but then you have to do whatever for them because they're your parent. Like,
yeah, because they're still
that.
family. So yeah, this guy is a little flawed. I do think towards the end of the film, they showed their relationship repairing now that she's an adult.
Yeah, because the thing throughout the film, and I do think this is probably due to Scoot McNairy's performance. He did a great job.
He does. He's not a bad actor at all, don't get me wrong.
While I thought this guy was a terrible father and he was consistently making the wrong choices, I never thought that he was a bad person.
I agree. He never got vindictive about his struggles with his daughter.
It was almost like, oh, he's doing all this because he doesn't really know what else to do. And I think there might be an element too of, oh, he just moved to San Francisco. He's in the middle of the gay scene in San Francisco. He never had a chance to have any of that. So now that he does, he's like,
he's lost his wife, who was his best friend, and it just like sent him over into the deep end, you know?
Yeah.
He's not a bad father because he's a bad person. He's a bad father because he's a dumbass.
That's true. Like, honestly, I think it wouldn't have been bad if he had said, you know what, I'm going through something. I need a few months or like a year or so where it's better that the grandparents keep this child. And then maybe he would have been able to come back to it and be a little more present.
Every interaction with the grandparents or at their home, everything turned out much better for Alicia.
Yeah, and I didn't know if the movie was trying to say, well, it's good she wasn't with the grandparents because they're homophobic, because they never really showed the grandparents being explicitly homophobic.
I think they were just anti-Scoot in this movie for good reason.
Yeah, we didn't really see much of them, honestly.
Not enough, yeah.
We just hear that, oh, she gets to go to college in Paris because her grandparents are going to pay for it.
Yeah, they pay for her stuff because
Scoot
does
is
not
a
work.
writer, but he's published, but he's very lightly published.
Yes,
you know?
he has high points, but a lot of low points between.
Yeah.
I thought this was, like I said, an interesting time in history to cover. I think this was a good story, worthwhile to tell, and especially a unique perspective. I thought it gave a good setting for, where was this? It was San Francisco, pretty much all throughout in the 70s and 80s. I thought that was well done. Maybe a cautionary tale for family manipulation or relationships. Otherwise, I enjoyed this movie a little bit more than I thought I would. It was pretty good.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good too. Like I said, stories like this, they're a bummer. They're supposed to be a bummer. It's an awful situation. It just feels like a lot of movies with queer themes have awful situations. It's the bury your gays trope,
It is really.
And it's not that it's dishonest or something that shouldn't be talked about, but
It's overdone.
it gets rough.
Or predictable, I suppose.
Like it gets rough to sit and, you want to watch a movie and it's got queer themes and there's horrific homophobia and everyone's dying from AIDS and
They start listing off.
Harvey Milk's getting assassinated.
Yeah. The scene at the end where she's picking up her dad's AIDS medication and they're listing off some characters who we'd met previously who had all died young by this point. Well, that's depressing.
Yeah. And it's realistic, but
100%.
It's depressing. So this movie made me sad. And at some points, I did think it was a little slow. I'm going to give this movie a 70%.
I guess it's my theme for today, but I'm going to go 79. Not bad. Not quite great.
And the Rotten Tomatoes score is a 96%.
Jeez. People love this?
That's a little overhyped for me. Critics loved this. The people gave it an 87%.
Are we going to get Best Actor Scoot McNairy?
Well, no, this movie was from last year, so he didn't make the cut.
The next one.
No, that's not how the Oscars work.
The next one.
No.
We'll see.
I mean, this movie wasn't bad at all. I do think 96% is a bit overhyped. I do think, if you do want to watch a really sad movie with queer themes, there's probably better movies that I've seen.
Okay.
But it wasn't bad. But yeah, 96, it's a little overhyped, but I wouldn't say don't watch it.
Worth the hype for me. Yeah, give it a shot. It'll make you feel something.
All right, last, but certainly not least.
Last one, let's go.
Primate
Monkey.
That is our new 2026 release because I'm still trying to keep up with those.
Oh, monkey.
I think this movie was everything that I expected based on the trailer and all that.
Yes. When you watch the trailer for Slaughterhouse showing the murderous sloth going across a frat house, something like that, you know what to expect. Get into that mindset for Primate and you're going to have a good time.
I think I liked Slaughterhouse more than this movie.
You didn't like this?
No, I liked it, but Slaughterhouse was just way more ridiculous.
Slaughterhouse was funny.
Yeah, Slaughterhouse was trying to be, funny and stupid.
It was just so over the top, yes.
This movie, I think, while it knew what it was a little more serious.
Yes.
I also think the killer sloth is more fun than the killer chimpanzee.
It just made me keep thinking of the monkey scene at the beginning of, Nope? Remember that?
Yes. Yeah, the monkey in Nope. I thought of that too, yeah.
I did appreciate that for the most part, the primate was practical. It seemed to be like a person in a suit or maybe puppetry and combination thereof. Is that right?
Yeah, it was a person in a suit, and I thought that was a really good choice because this movie would have looked really stupid if they had just tried to CGI the whole thing.
I agree.
I did think the effects were really good. All of the gore effects, which this movie was a bit gorier than I was expecting.
It was actually, yes.
Because the monkey is like ripping people's faces off and like taking their jaws off.
They just use whatever excuse, like, yeah, the monkey has rabies, whatever. Gloves off. He's tearing people apart. He's a murdering psychopath immediately, and I loved it.
Yeah, they're like, we're just gonna say rabies. It doesn't matter. Killer monkey.
He's grabbing his little tablet where he can hit buttons to say like what words he wants to communicate. And he's just hitting dead, 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 dead.
Dad, kill. Yeah, it's great.
I thought that was great.
I'm like, why is dead even a programmed word on
I
his
know.
tablet?
I know, but they establish he has rabies. This monkey got bit by like a rat or something like that. He rips the face off the vet who came to treat him, and that's how it kind of gets out into this house.
Yeah, because we have this family. We're in Hawaii, which really pretty house. Got an infinity pool.
All the characters in here really pissed me off because they're such idiots the whole time.
That's classic horror movie, though.
That's why it works in this, because it's like, why do you have a pet almost full grown chimpanzee in your house? Like if it was a baby one, I guess, because I think at least the now deceased mom was a scientist,
linguist, I think,
like working with the monkey in some primate.
She was a linguist, worked with language, and was trying to like teach the monkey to talk and stuff.
But the dad can't even hear. He's communicating by sign language. You can't take care of a chimpanzee also in just a regular house.
Chimpanzees speak sign language, or they have before.
I think they do it. They recognize patterns when what things get them food.
I personally really liked seeing Oscar winner Troy Kotzer in this movie as the dad. Oh, and we just watched Fairyland. Mm-hmm. He was Amelia Jones's dad in that movie.
Okay.
So there you go. Little connection there.
There you go.
But I haven't seen Troy Kotzer in anything since Coda, which don't get me started on Coda, on that Oscar win. Don't get me started. It's a fine movie. Mm-hmm. It's good. I liked it, but Power of the Dog was sitting right there.
It was. I think it's a superior movie.
You've never seen Coda.
And you know what? Power of the Dog, it's that good. I don't know. I don't need to. Taking your word for it, because you get scary when you're mad about the Oscars.
I do get scary when I'm mad about the Oscars. Let's see what happens on Sunday.
But back to Primate. Our boy gets rabies and starts tearing people apart wherever he can find them. And their solution is to hide in the pool because he's got hydrophobia now. Well,
yeah, because there's 2 teenage girls in this household, and one is like coming back from college with her friends. Mm-hmm. Well, one friend and one girl who's kind of a frenemy.
Why was she invited?
Because she was friends with the other girl.
That's annoying.
I think they're like neighbors and best friends or something.
Okay.
Yeah, so they go to their really nice house because Troy Kotzer is a famous author. And we establish he's kind of a bad father. He's not around that much.
He is, yes.
And then there's a little sister who I don't think they establish how old she is, but I'm assuming if these other kids are in college, she's maybe in late high school.
Something like that.
But they drink, they party, they play Charlie XCX.
Have a great time.
And they get into love triangles, and then Ben strikes. And yeah, they get in the pool. They get in the infinity pool, which I thought was a nice touch.
Yeah, Ben is scaring these girls and like going nuts. He bites the younger sister like right on the leg, which I figured she was gonna bleed out because she's in the pool the whole movie with a big old gnarly chimpanzee chunk out of your leg.
She needs a rabies shot.
She definitely needs a rabies shot now too, yeah.
Well, and then the girl who was kind of like the frenemy and was moving in on the guy our final girl liked, even though he said he wasn't into the final girl and was very into this other girl. But for some reason, we're supposed to dislike her. She was saying, okay, where's the gun? You got to put him down.
You were right.
They treat her like she's some evil monster. And she's like, that's what you do when animals bite people.
We're not talking about a squirrel in our backyard. This is a chimpanzee on rabies.
That rips people's faces off. Like, in this one instance, I think this girl was right.
Who's taking the opportunity to actually communicate with us just to say how much it wants to kill us. Get the shotgun.
I was really sad that they killed her off. I knew they would because we have to have our final girl, but...
Oh, none of the friends survive. They get viciously just torn apart. The one neighbor boy, he gets tossed over the edge of the infinity pool off the cliffs.
Impaled on some rocks.
Yeah.
And then Ben starts like laughing maniacally.
The monkey goes sadistic. It's fun. Like, he starts picking off people one at a time, especially trying to get to them in the pool by like swinging on the lights and like going around the edge and stuff, trying to figure out ways to get to them.
I liked that. So the girls were messing around and they met some frat boys at the airport. So they call them to come over, which, by the way, no girl would ever do this. No girl would ever call some random guys that they don't even know, give them your address and say you need them to come over to have sex with you when you don't really want that. Like, that's just, you can't trust that. No way.
No one in this movie made very smart decisions.
No. But yeah, the frat boys end up coming over. They're, of course, already drunk. They were definitely drunk driving and they don't know what's going on. They just come into this destroyed house.
You're like, they were drunk driving. They deserved what happens to them.
Exactly.
Yes, Ben, good old Ben, he decides his new technique is to start ripping jaws off of people.
That was probably the coolest kill for me, was Ben ripping the jaw off of that frat boy.
A lot of practical gore effects, and I think that just makes it, I don't know, you just get a little bit more squeamish factor. It worked really well.
I agree. I think too much CGI would have killed this movie.
Yes, absolutely. But yes, a few of the gals tried to escape. One girl gets like, Ben has the car keys and is like messing with the car locks and then jumps in, just starts tearing her apart. He's diabolical.
Yeah, because not only is Ben just kind of going crazy from the rabies and biting everything that moves.
Oh no, he's got some grievances. He's just got some grudges to work out.
Oh yeah, he's being maniacal and sociopathic about everything.
It's so funny.
But yeah, this movie was essentially what you would expect, but I do think the practical effects pushed it into a level where, you know, it didn't feel like just typical horror schlock, you know?
Exactly. If you're looking for something a little different from your, I guess you could say, more typical like cheap slasher film, something like this is kind of a good unique take on, like, it's not the highest budget or like the biggest stakes plot in the world, but what they give you and they set up is done pretty well. I enjoyed myself this whole time. I liked it.
It's got all your typical horror tropes that you might expect, but with all the practical effects and stuff, it's doing it well.
I did appreciate also pretty much throughout the whole film. This movie was like an hour and a half, something like that. It's not too long, but Ben, he's a threat pretty much the entire time, like trying to get them. And you could feel that kind of added pressure. They were like, no one's safe.
Yeah, they get right into it.
But I like that, yeah. I enjoyed this. I would give this movie an 85% with a worth the hype stamp right on top.
I'm going to give it a 75. It wasn't super unique or anything. Like I said, I would probably rather watch Slaughterhouse.
Gonna tear your jaw off. He, a couple times, slowly puts his little fingers into people's mouths and like, I'm gonna rip your jaw off now.
I will say, I probably wouldn't rewatch this movie. I don't really think it's worth a rewatch.
Hey, if you got friends over or something, like, hey, you just want to watch a dumb gore fest movie after Slaughterhouse, because watch that first, of course. Please watch Slaughterhouse first, because they are much quicker.
Everyone should watch Slaughterhouse. Where's Slaughterhouse 2?
It's coming, I'm sure.
To Google, is there Slaughterhouse 2?
After Cocaine Bear 2.
Cocaine Bear disappointed me.
Yeah.
I think Carrie Russell needed to like do a line of cocaine to get on the bear's level so then she could fight the cocaine bear.
Her PR people were like, she is absolutely not doing cocaine in this movie.
Then you don't be in a movie called Cocaine Bear.
That movie needed to star like Johnny Depp.
No, gross.
Who would be good? John Hamm. How about that?
You could do better. Okay, it looks like there is no Slaughterhouse 2, but there might be a Slaughterhouse 2 at some point, and there should be. But back to Primate, the Rotten Tomatoes score is a 78%, so I think that's appropriately hyped.
I would say so as well. Yeah, give it a watch. It's fun.
Yeah.
Don't
like
expect
I said,
the world out of it.
Give it like one watch. I don't really think it's worth a rewatch, but you know, if you like some silly horror, this does it pretty well. You could watch a lot worse than Primate.
I think you put that perfectly. If you want some horror you don't want to take too seriously, Primate.
All right, so that was the last of our movies. Let's see. I like giving my favorite and least favorite. So my favorite was Man Finds Tape. Man Finds Tape was really cool.
I'm gonna match you on that one. I agree.
Yeah. My least favorite was Song Sung Blue.
I didn't hate that movie as much as I thought I would because I did enjoy the music pretty much throughout. Oh, least favorite. I think probably my least favorite for this week was Fackham Hall because it was just kind of disappointing.
Because you were actually really excited for that movie based on the trailer.
I had higher hopes for that movie, and it was fine. It was serviceable, but as far as like a good comedy, nah, not too much.
But overall, the worst movie I watched this week was Avatar 3, but that didn't make the Certified Fresh Rotten Tomatoes list.
No, we had to watch that for the Oscars, and I tell you, that was an extremely, like, they rehashed basically the plot of this last movie. They were in the water world for most of the time. We didn't get much fire and ash at all. We went to the fireplace once. I'm mad about this movie.
Yeah, why is it so long?
Half of the movie is about them doing the whale hunt shit again from the last movie. And yeah, we're just all about Jake Sully protecting the family. We've already done this story, this exact same story for a third time.
I thought the acting was bad.
It was. It very much was. I don't know why James Cameron thinks that this particular story is, one, worth a whole 5 movies, each like 3 hours apiece, because...
It's because they all make like $1 billion.
It looks great. Yeah, but by this point, it looks exactly the same as the other movies. Nothing really stands out at all. And since we're not going anywhere new with the story that's interesting, I'm assuming it's going to be the Earthbenders next movie. Yay.
Well, don't you worry. They're making 2 more of them, and they'll probably both get that visual effects Oscar nom, so we'll have to watch.
Let's see. It's been a little over 3 years since the last movie, right?
We saw the second movie on our second date, so yeah.
I wonder how long it will be until that final one where Jake Sully emerges as the fully realized Avatar. He changes his name to Ong.
Not Ong.
But what if Shyamalan was directing the last movie just randomly? I'd watch that.
I would honestly be intrigued. I'd be like, what?
Just imagine if M. Night Shyamalan had instead alternate universe, same kind of concept, but he gets the Avatar franchise. That would be ridiculous. I'd watch every single one.
Him and James Cameron switch, and James Cameron does the live action for the Nickelodeon Avatar.
That probably would have been a better movie.
That probably would have been a better movie. Well, I guess that was our week.
We went off topic a little bit, but you know what? It was fun. It's all in the spirit of movies, what they do to us, the toll they take on my health.
And we've got, 3 or 4 more to watch before the Oscars. The Oscars are in 3 days, so I think we can do it. One's a short film. So we're going to death race it.
Let's go. We're in the home stretch.
Excited for the Oscars. Not excited for work the next morning. But, no. We're going to get through it.
We will make it. We will see you guys on the other side.
Goodbye.
Good night.